everybody. This is take two on part two of our gospel journey. It is take two because we had our devotional Sunday, but we had some technical difficulties and we're able to record it. So we wanted to get that out for our groups. So here we are, deja vu all over again. So our month's theme in February is knowing God, and then our topic for this week is experiencing God. And so last week we talked about the fact that there's a monumental difference between knowing God and knowing about God, having a relationship with God versus just having some working information about who He is. It is vital that we actually have a personal connection, relationship with God. In order to do that, in order to have a relationship with anyone, you have to spend time with Him. Time spent is vital. I could have had friends tell me about this girl named Sonia and said, hey, Chris, this girl named Sonia is a great girl and I think you really like her. Let me tell you about her. That would have been fine. But really, for me to determine whether or not she's the one for me, I needed to meet her and I needed to spend time with her. And she needed to meet me and spend time with me to determine, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into? Pray for her. Anyway, so we need to spend time with God to really have that connection and that relationship. It's vital. In fact, God is not something that we're meant to figure out. God is someone that we're meant to have a relationship with, experience life with. And so I want to refer to a couple Psalms. They're both two of my favorites. I mean, I've got a lot of favorites in the Bible, but these are two really, really good ones. Psalm 34:8 says, taste and see that the Lord is good. That statement alone is just, it's experiential. It is to experience God. It's not just, hey, consider or ponder or think about or read about. It is to experience, to taste, and to see that He is good. Psalm 46:10 says to be still or cease striving and know that He is God. In other words, put everything down, stop what you're doing, and experience His godness. Let Him show you, let Him convince you, let Him win you over with how amazing He is. That is all about experience. The book of Psalms is like that. In fact, I say the theme of the book of Psalms in large part is experiencing God through the ups and the downs of life, through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so some Psalms are beautiful and they're encouraging. Some Psalms are just someone wailing and yelling and fussing, which sounds like my prayer life. But I love the author Eugene Peterson, who wrote the Message translation of the Bible. He said of the book of Psalms, he says, everything that a person can possibly feel or experience or say, those things are brought about in expression before God in the book of Psalms. So in other words, the book of Psalms captures it all. Our ups and downs, our good and bad, our expression, everything that we have to give to God is there. And so the most prolific writer of the Psalms was King David. He contributed the most, and so I'd say his number one hit is Psalm 23, the 23rd Psalm, which we've all heard at some point in our life, probably several times. But I want to share that with you. I've got my Bible with me. That's the book from me. And so this is how it goes. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. I think we underestimate how much we need that, our souls restored. And so it says, He guides me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. You're with me, and your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Forever, ever, forever, ever. It's so beautiful. I love it. In fact, the whole thing is really about experiencing God. Top to bottom, this is David talking about his experience with God. It's personal. It's dealing with his childhood, his upbringing, being a shepherd boy and experiencing God in the field. It's very personal, but I think it really applies to all of us. And he talks about from the onset, he talks about God as a shepherd, and He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me by still waters. He's using this word He, and He's talking about God to us. He's sharing about God, and so we experience God in sharing about God and talking about Him. The Bible says that faith comes by hearing the gospel, hearing the good news of Jesus, us talking about God to each other. We experience God in that, but then he shifts. And then now he's not talking about God to other people. He's talking directly to God. And so he starts sort of praying and worshiping, praying and connecting and having a conversation with God, and also worshiping, elevating, lifting up, glorifying God. It's like, you anoint my head with oil, your rod and your staff that comfort me. He starts talking about how good and faithful God is. We experience God in prayer. We experience God in worship. And that is a personal connection, us and him. We might do corporately, but it is a direct connect between us and him. He starts talking about God's faithfulness through peaceful times. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me by quiet waters. And so you are faithful in the quiet, in the peace, in the joy, in the good. But then he starts talking about walking through the valley of shadow of death. He talks about God's faithfulness to have a rod and a staff, which comfort me. The rod is to fend off predators. The staff has got the hook on it, and it can pull sheep out of crevices and rocks to save them from precarious spots, which we all get in from time to time. He says, you set a table for me in the presence of my enemies. It's acknowledging I got enemies, but you bring me to a place of peace and rest and comfort even in the midst of all that. So it is God's faithfulness through the good and through the bad. So we experience God in the up times and the joy and the peace, but we also experience God in the negative times and the tough times. In fact, we need to experience God in those times. He says, my cup overflows, and surely goodness and loving kindness will follow me all the days of my life. The word follows is very passive, and it's not a good translation. A closer translation would be the word chases. Your goodness and your loving kindness chase me. They hound me. You're unrelenting in your goodness. You chase me down. Even though I go the opposite direction and I get focused on entirely the wrong things, you are incredibly faithful to come after me with your goodness and loving kindness. And he ends it with, I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, which is a declaration, is a statement, is a promise. I will never stop experiencing God. It is my commitment. I will continue to experience God for all the days of my life. I'm staying with you. And so my encouragement is to make that a priority, to take time every day of our lives, to in some shape or form. There's a lot of days that are busy, and maybe it's just in our car driving, and maybe we get a day off, maybe we get a weekend off, maybe we can go hiking or something like that. Just take some time and let God be God. Experience Him. Be still. Stop what you're doing. Just let God be God and taste and see that He is good. And so I hope that you have a wonderful week. Hope you have a great conversation in your groups. I love you very much, and I'll see you next time.